All right, we are fully wired up down here. I put the caps on at the 500-foot section in the middle of the 1,000 feet. I used some wire to strap this down to the cinder block so that it doesn't vibrate off of here, hopefully. We're open full speed, or the valve is fully open over here. I let it run for a while so that just to make sure it doesn't slow down. It seems to be working good now. One thing that I did do previously, I put a whole bunch of rocks inside the cinder blocks to keep them from floating away or just to make it more sturdy. But I think that was backing up the water inside of here, causing it to slow down. I did test the water temperature coming out of this, because it is cold. For 54 degrees. Because originally I thought it might be, the coldness might be making the motor a little more constricted, and that was slowing it down. So right now we're hooked up live. The power's going all the way up to where my camper is. It's hooked up to a rectifier which converts this 3-phase alternating current. It converts it to DC. So I'm going to hike back through the woods up there, and then we'll use this voltmeter that I had left down here to measure the voltage up at camp. So hopefully this stays steady. We'll go up there and see what we have. All right, we're halfway back. This, before I had wired just one little single strand together, I was able to find some 6-gauge caps at Home Depot. So this is all wired together good. They're pointing up, should keep the rain out. I think we're good on this. And now we'll show the end back at camp. All right, we're back at camp. No fires, that's a good thing. Here you can see I capped these off onto smaller wires to wire to the rectifier that came with it. I bought the tab connectors, but this is made in China, so it doesn't fit the standard US tabs, and they're bigger. So for now I had to just wrap the wire around. It's not really efficient. But this rectifier is turning the AC into DC. And here we're getting 147 volts. So that's pretty good. Now I have to wire the output of these into a solar charger and wire that up to my battery bank, and that'll be charging 145 volts to my battery bank 24/7. So that's awesome. I guess once I wire that up, I might have to go turn off the water before I start touching this, but we'll see. But I am happy with this. This is pretty good. All right, this is progress so far. We just seem to have a big, huge mess here. These are the DC voltage output from the rectifier, which needs to go into the solar charge controller. Those will go into these solar inputs here. And then apparently this charge controller obviously has to hook up to the battery, but it also needs to hook up to the load. So I have to insert this in between my current big battery and this inverter here, 2500 watt pure sine inverter. So these big cables have big old connectors that will not go in to these. So I've had to make some more cables here. I've made about 3.5 foot, 4 foot cables. One to go from the battery to the solar charger. So this I can screw into the thing. This I can put right on the battery terminal. And then one to go from the inverter as the load on the solar charger. And then I did the same thing in the black. So I had to cut the cables with the cutter, strip it with the scissors, crimp it on these pliers. There's a little crimper there. The cables came with a bag of these things that I crimp on there. I've got heat shrink, but I'm not worrying about that just yet. Got some breakers I need to put in there somewhere, but in order to do that I have to make more cables, so we'll see whether I do that or not. It would be good to have one from the battery, and maybe one from the load. So that's the progress so far. I just took off this inverter. It plugs in pretty easy. This is what I've been charging my battery with. This just plugs into the generator cable, which goes to my generator once I have that running. So this is the charger I've been using. This is the charger that should charge off of the hydropower. So I'm going to hook up a few more things, put in some circuit breakers, put in my new cables, and then turn things on and test things out. So we'll see how this goes. All right. We now have this going to the battery through a circuit breaker there. If I push that button, it trips the breaker. It's also a fuse, so that if we draw too many amps, that'll flip. That's on the positive side to the battery. The load, I didn't put a circuit breaker because I don't know if you really need one. You're probably supposed to, but I only had two. So the load is going directly, both of them are going into the inverter. And finally, the solar input, I have on the positive side another circuit breaker here, so I can turn it off if I need to on the positive side. And the negative one goes into the rectifier. I threw a couple sparks trying to, because this is a battery solar charge controller, so it's a battery controller. This battery came with a really nice Wi-Fi controller right here that I really liked, and so I tried to put that in line. This used to go to the negative cable, and then this went from, where is it, the negative battery to the negative load. And when I tried doing that, I got some sparks, and I said maybe two controllers isn't the right idea. So I Google searched how to put two controllers to the same negative load, and it suggested not to do it. So for now, I've got this system here. It shows me my battery voltage. The load is 42.8. It's a 48 volt system. I got 40 volts load, I guess. But the big thing is the input, 97 volts. 96. Oh, there's the amps. Very small amps. 0.1 amp. 94 volt input. It was 110 earlier. I need to check. Maybe because it's charging the battery, it looks like less. But I need to do some research. I got this manual right here. This is the manual for the solar charger. I need to read it and find out more stuff. But we're protected with line breakers. We got everything connected. I haven't tested anything inside the camper yet to see if we have power in there. But I did take a look at our inverter. which is turned on, and it says that it's working. So let's go check it out now. This will tell us if the inverter's working or not. Hey! Alright, I think we're in business. I just wish I knew. I'll have to look what my battery level is and see if it's actually charging. But we do have, looks like 75 volts input now. 74, 73. But before I go on vacation, I'm going to go shut that valve because I just don't trust everything. But time to clean up. I've been hearing thunderstorms. It's cloudy out today, so there's a chance of storms. So I'm going to clean up and monitor and do some research. But I think we're in business. All right, well, I'm back. I did some research. I did end up hooking the battery monitoring system back up. What I did was connected the ground to ground like it was, but rather than making it in series, I made it in parallel. So the load, I took this guy here to the load and put it on that same thing, attach the positive, which is over here, attach that back, and then put this and that one on the ground. And the battery monitoring system did work for a while. It would go from 47% battery, which is about what I had, and then it would jump up to like 200% battery. So something's not right there. I don't know if the charge controller's putting too many volts in and it's confusing this charge controller. But after about 10 minutes of that, everything just shut off. So I undid everything I did, put everything back in the way it was. And now we're down to one charge controller, one inverter, one battery, and one power source from the hydro. And I guess we're just gonna try this out for a while and see. This does have a battery. Get the light out of here. Battery indicator at the top, it says 74%, but it's said that the whole time, and my real battery monitor says it's 47%, which I think is correct. And I haven't tried charging it with this charger with a generator if I need it, but I think for now we just kind of let it sit and see what it does and do some cleanup, because I still got tools everywhere and we're still getting some thunder noises and some clouds. It's been a chance of rain all day, but yeah, clean up. I need to put this in the box, put the top on, keep it waterproof. This has its own fan. This has its own fan. The battery doesn't, but it should be monitored by the charge controller. So, yeah, that's about all for today.